creating a Photoshop droplet. A droplet is a standalone icon, and it's in the form of an icon that appears outside of Photoshop. If I minimize Photoshop for a moment, you'll see I have a droplet right here. So I can drag one or more closed Photoshop files onto the droplet icon to perform an action. Other files can be dragged over top of it as well. I can store droplets on my desktop, and I can distribute them and share them with others. One thing to note, the difference between a PC and a Mac as far as a Photoshop droplet is concerned. Originally, a Photoshop droplet is saved in a .exe format on a PC. On a Mac, we don't have .exe, we need the .app format. That's what Mac OS uses. So if you're using a Mac, once you create a droplet, like I have, it created a .app. Now if I have a .exe, once I take that and drag it from a folder onto my desktop, it should be updated for use for a Mac to a .app. Just know that this is a place where cross-platform issues might occur, so be aware that a Mac needs a .app format, whereas a PC uses a .exe format. Let's go ahead and create a droplet. They're very simple and easy to do. So I just go up to my File menu, and I'm going to go to Automate. While I'm here, let me explain the difference between Automate and Script. Actions versus scripts. When we look at scripts here under the File menu, Scripts, we see a Scripts Event Manager. And this is a bit more complicated. Scripts perform actions that involve multiple applications. Scripts can open, save, and rename files. Scripts can be copied from one computer to another, whereas actions must be recreated or actually turned into a droplet that we're going to do here in a minute. Scripts use variable file paths to locate and open a file. So scripts are a little bit more in depth than an action. And you potentially could use your JavaScript skills to write scripts for Photoshop. So back to a droplet. Let's go back to File, and we're going to go to Automate. And you see Batch right there. We're going to get to that. We're going to go first to create a droplet. So when I click Create a Droplet, my Create Droplet dialog box pops up. And in here I have several options. And it does remember the last way you left it. So if you've been playing in creating a droplet dialog box in the past, it will probably remember some of those settings. So in here I choose number one, where I may want to save this. And so I actually have already defined a folder. So you're going to locate a folder where you want this droplet saved in. I'm going to choose under Play what set and what action. So I'm going to use the list arrow here to choose the specific set that I have loaded in Photoshop right now. To find that, I would have my Actions panel open and see what sets I have. Now the class exercises that set that I just created, but I can choose something from one of my other sets. So I'll go with the default actions. And in that default action set, I will choose a specific action, and I'm going to choose the sepia because that's a good visual. You can see it happening. So once I've chosen that, so I have my set and I have my action, you can choose the errors here if you want to log the errors, if you want to stop for errors. I like to stop for errors because if something's going wrong, I want to see what's going on, why it didn't work. Then my destination folder, again, you can choose where you want this, and you can choose to put it in a folder or save and close it. And then where. And so this is where my ending file will be placed. So after I drag my document over top of the droplet, what's going to happen? And here I'm going to choose document name and date with the extension. So this is the way I'm going to name it. Here's the example, my file, and then the date, and then the extension. You can do all kinds of things here. For instance, not just the date, you can do a serial number. You can do different rearrangement, different orders if you'd like as well. So I click OK. And it doesn't seem like anything happened, but what did happen, I'll show you, is in that folder that I specified, here is the droplet. So I now can take that and drag it onto my desktop. I'm going to choose to rename this right here so that I don't get it confused with the other that I have out there. So it's just like a file. I can rename it. I'm going to drag it onto my desktop. You can see the kind is an application. So I'm on a Mac and I am going to see it out here as a .app. Remember, on a PC you'll see it as a .exe. So that's how I can create a droplet. Now I can also go back to Photoshop here, talk about a batch. Under the File menu, under Automate, there's something called Batch. This is a way that we can take a group of images and have the same action performed simultaneously. So if I go to Batch here, I can choose what to run through this droplet or this set an action. So I can batch it. And this is a way if you've got some slight color correcting to do, say you were in a photo shoot and you were indoors, everything turned out very yellow. You knew the setting that you can use to adjust to get rid of that yellow tint. What you can do is create an action for that, and then you can batch and run a whole bunch of files through at one time. Sit back, watch it happen, and it's done. Let me show you how I can run something through the batch that I created here. Okay, so I'm to a point here that I want to apply my batch. Now here's a .exe. That is actually a droplet, but a PC format. This one came from a PC. So I have a basketball ping here. I'm going to click and drag that over top of my sepia example. What will happen is I watch it open in Photoshop. It did it by itself. Now it's asking me to verify the save as. That was a checkbox in that droplet where you can have it pause here, or you can directly have it save and close for you. I like just to see what's going on. I'll click save and OK for that format options. And now it closed it and back to the file I had open previously. So if you look here, this is where it saved it. And if I double click on that, this is what happened. So it ran through that action for me. So batches are awesome. Creating droplets are great. Working with actions, they all are synced together. You create an action that goes in a set, then you create a droplet and you can run a batch on it. Any of those levels really help save time. So it's in your best interest to do some research, find some different actions, potentially create some droplets, and really use your time wisely and make Photoshop do the work for you.